guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Zoe from Zoe's Fancy Cakes, and today I'm very excited about this video as I'm creating a cake and some Rice Krispie treats based on the characters by Michael Reyes. Now, Michael, if you're watching this, I apologize. I don't know if I'm saying your surname right. I don't know if it's Reyes or Reyes. I'm rubbish with names. You might also have seen his work on his Instagram account, Mr. Eyes. I'm going to put links below the video as well, guys, for you to have a look at. And also, he's the creator of Terribly Odd. He's also the art director at Gideon's Bakehouse, and I am going to go there one day, guys. But for this video, I've just used some Rice Krispie treats. I bought the Kellogg's ones because I was way too lazy to make my own. I apologize, guys. I also don't have much workspace at the moment, so you can hear the dog again in the background, I think. So I've printed off some images of his characters, and I'm gonna use this latte coloured fondant on the cake, and I'm gonna try and make a chocolate to match to cover these Kellogg's Rice Krispie squares. So I've got the white chocolate here, and then I'm thinking either the gold or the milk chocolate to mix in with it to create the colour. There we go. So this is the colour I'm wanting. So I've melted my chocolate. Now I've used mainly white with just a tiny bit of the milk chocolate. And guys, I'm going to put links below the video to everything I've used. And then I'm simply going to cut up the Rice Krispie treats to roughly the kind of shapes of the heads of his characters. Apologies, I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background. Okay, so you should usually temper your chocolate, guys. For this, again, I still haven't bought myself another thermometer. I've lost my other one. So I've just melted it, but I should really temper it. And I'm just going to cover these Rice Krispie treats in the chocolate. You might find that they're not very smooth at this stage, so you might have to give them more than one coat, or there's bits of chocolate that kind of fallen around the bottom that have dripped down that you might need to just trim off once they have set. So I'm going to pop mine in for another coat. Some of them I didn't even coat the back, which I probably should have done. And you can just pour extra bits of chocolate on the top as well if you think that will even them out a little bit more. So I don't think I'm going to get these perfectly smooth, but it's fine. So I'm going to put them to one side to let them dry. And I'm going to stick a small piece of polystyrene on my cake drum. So I've got a black cake drum here. I think it's a 10-inch cake drum. I've just stuck it on with a bit of that melted chocolate. The polystyrene is 3 inches wide by, I think, 2 inches tall, or maybe it was 3 inches tall. I'll double check and I'll put that below the description box for you guys. Now I'm using that Latte Renshaw's Ready to Roll fondant. And I've rolled it nice and thin. And what I'm going to do is cover this polystyrene. So this is going to actually be like the neck and the shoulders of my cake. So I'm going to use thin pieces. Let's scrunch this up for his little neckerchief. Is it called a neckerchief? And let's do another piece just down here. We might need to shorten it a little bit. Now, guys, you can do this bit in cake, but I've just decided I don't need a huge amount of cake for this one. So the head is going to be cake and this neck is just going to be polystyrene. But it's really important that the cake itself doesn't come into direct contact with the polystyrene. So I will put a board under my cake to separate it from this piece of polystyrene. Okay, so let's make his little bit of jacket. So a bit of a V shape. Okay, so we're going to put another piece now around for the jacket. Now this piece is slightly thinner at the top, wider at the bottom. So it starts to bulk out a bit more where his shoulders are. And then let's cut the little lapels for the jacket. So I have printed off some images of these characters. I just love them. I think they're great little characters. Kind of creepy, but kind of cute as well. So it might not look exactly the same, mine, but it's similar enough, I think. Okay, so let's add this little bit in here. My printer quality isn't very good, so I wasn't fully sure if we had a bit of fabric there above the waistcoat or not. So mine has. I don't know if it should or not. Okay, so I'm going to put a piece now on top of the polystyrene, and it's kind of got two triangles that are going to come out for the top of the collar. Is it a winged collar? I'm not sure what kind of collar that's called. But there we go, like that. Now, the fondant's quite soft. You can add Tylose to it. I haven't, so I've got more than one pack of fondant to hand. I'm just going to pop these underneath, and I'm going to leave it till it has a few hours to sort of firm up. If you're not in a rush, you could even leave it overnight, guys. That would be fine. Now, for my actual cake, I'm completely cheating and I am using a ready mix cake. And all I have to do is add water, and I'm going to make them in some 6-inch cake pans. So this is what it looks like. You simply add water. I haven't mixed it very well. There's some on the side of the bowl. So I'm going to do some cakes in chocolate and some in vanilla. So they've risen quite a lot. I think maybe I had the oven on slightly too high a temperature when I was baking these. So I've layered my cakes so that they're I would say no bigger than about 1 inch maybe in height. Now I've got a 6-inch cake card on my work surface that I'm going to stick all these on. And I want to add a bit of a buttercream layer around the outer edge. So I've just trimmed off the outer edge of each cake so that I've got space for the buttercream. We're going to put a buttercream layer in there. So this is a chocolate buttercream I'm using here, guys. I actually used, I think it was the Jaffa Orange of the Sugar and Crumb ones. Again, I'll put links below. If you want to use flavoured icing sugar, you can do, but you don't have to. Go with whatever filling you like. So we're just going to layer them up, and we're going to go chocolate, vanilla, chocolate, vanilla. So mine's a similar height to it is the width, so it's about 6 inches tall. I'm really sorry, I don't know what noises my dog's making in the background. Okay, so we're covering the whole outer layer of the cake in buttercream. It go fairly thick, and then you can scrape it down with a scraper. Put it in the fridge just to let that firm up. So while we're waiting for that to firm up, I'm going to go back onto painting these Rice Krispie treats that we did earlier. I don't think I'm going to show you every single face in the video because you might get a little bit bored of watching me do so many, but I'm using the edible powders and I'm mixing them with Rejuvenator Spirit, or you could use clear alcohol if you prefer, guys. I'm using a thin brush and I've gone for slightly grey, so a bit of black, tiny bit of white with that Rejuvenator. It mixes better with a clear alcohol or a Rejuvenator. Just water sometimes just leaves it a bit sort of lumpy bumpy and doesn't stick very well. Also, alcohol evaporates quickly and it dries fairly fast. So I'm just now having a look at the images, and I think the one that I'm painting up is slightly out of shot for you guys to see, but I'm using a big fluffy brush for anywhere that I want sort of lighter shading, and I'm using the powder dry in that area, and then wet anywhere that I want sort of stronger details. So I've painted on the mouth and the eyes. Now, if you've got something that's a circle cutter, you could even imprint it slightly into where the eyes are so you get a circle, because I'm not very good at painting circles. Yeah, they could be a little bit more rounded, what I've done there. And if you want to have a lighter appearance, just put more Rejuvenator or clear alcohol in with your paint, and it'll just make it a bit more transparent so it won't look quite as dark. So on some of these guys, we're going to change the details to do some of the different characters. I just love the eyes on these. Like, creepy but cute. Now, anywhere where like the hair sticks out quite a lot, I'm using tiny bits of that latte coloured fondant. I apologise, guys, this has to be like the noisiest background ever for one of my videos. We're having the house extended and we basically can't get in the house at the moment, so I'm having to borrow some workspace at my mum's, and it's quite noisy. There's all sorts going on here. Now, I like this one with the little stitched up mouth. I thought this one was really cute. Do you know, I cannot wait to go to Gideon's. We're going on holiday to Florida at some point next year, and I'm going to go to the Gideon's Bakehouse there because I know they sell Michael's artwork. Again, guys, I'm going to put links below the video to his different Instagram accounts so that you can have a look at his artwork yourself, because I really do think it's fantastic artwork. I wish I could draw like this. So this one, again, we've added the ears on in fondant, so they're a little bit more standoffish. You could use modeling chocolate. Now, I didn't think till after I was already using this fondant, but modeling chocolate would have tasted much nicer. So yeah, if I'd have thought that through, I would have gone and got myself some modeling chocolate for this one. So guys, I'm just going to speed up the process of me painting. Like I say, I didn't want to show you every single one because it might be a little bit boring for you guys. But it's just so you can see roughly that I'm sticking on bits of fondant to make things a little bit more in relief. So guys, you know, have a go at a few different faces, or even, you know, make your own designs. I'm not always very creative, and I liked these ones, so I was just going to go for Michael's artwork on these ones. And I have to say a massive, massive thank you to Michael for allowing me to replicate his little characters in cake. I'm really pleased he allowed me to, because I really enjoyed doing these ones, and I'm quite pleased with how they turned out as well. So I've dusted the body, or the shoulders and neck area, and I'm just neatening up my buttercream on my cake. So it's come out of the fridge now. It's had time to firm up while I was working on those other things. So just patching up any sort of missing bits on there. I'm going to use some more of that melted chocolate. So it's a similar colour to the fondant. So if it drips down, it shouldn't be too obvious. And I'm going to sit the cake, which will be the head, on there. And I'm going to give it 5 minutes to dry. So the cake is actually a little bit bigger and wider than the neck. So just make sure you centralize it. Just give it 5 minutes to dry. I'll put it in the fridge so that chocolate sets. And then what we need to do is use more of that latte coloured fondant. I think it doesn't look very dark on camera, this latte. In fact, it looks almost white on camera. It's an off-white. So once you've rolled out your latte fondant, just make sure it is going to be big enough to cover the cake. It does have some stretch in it, so if it's a little bit short, I should be able to pull it down around the cake. I've added a very, very tiny piece of extra fondant just under where I want the chin to be. And then we're going to place this on the cake itself. Now I've got a bit of chocolate on the top from the buttercream, but it's fine. His hair should cover that later, I think. Now it's quite heavy. The weight of this is pulling down, so any extra I just wanted to try and cut off before it tears on that top edge of my cake. If it's not sticking, just put a little bit of water under. Now, if your cake has just come out of the fridge, you might find that it gets condensation on it, or condensation forms on it as it's out, and then the fondant will just stick to it. And I did put a little bit of chocolate on the board itself as well, so it wasn't sort of a flat black colour. Now, guys, I did start marking in the facial features, and I have to apologise because I had 2 angles that I was filming this from, and I do it on my phone usually, and the memory ran out on my phone, and I didn't realise until after I was filming that the angle from the side that you would have really been better viewing this from, I just didn't have because my phone hadn't saved it. But basically I'm putting in a mouth line and nostrils, and then I used a cookie cutter, a circular one, to just mark in where the eyes are going to go, so you can see it here. So I just use this, I think it's called a cat tongue tool, and then my Dresden tool to mark in the details. So apologies, guys, that you didn't see that from a very good angle. I really should check my phone in advance of filming these things. And then we're going to make some little ears. So we've gone teardrop shapes, and then I've flattened them slightly, and they're going to just go on there. Now, the fondant's very soft, so I'm just going to leave them to firm up to one side for a little bit. And then we need to make the colour of the face match with our little Rice Krispie treats. So I'm using the dry dust at first, and I'm just having a look at the image to see where it wants to be shaded. Don't go too heavy at first with that powder on your brush. Try and keep it with just a small amount in, and then you can always add more if you need to darken it. So where I went wrong, I tried to wipe it off with water, and then I just dabbed it off with a bit of kitchen roll. And then we're kind of giving him, I'm going to call it a freckly appearance, just above the lip. I liked this one. I thought it was, again, creepy cute. And then we're darkening around the eyes, and then in the eyes themselves. And you know what I did like about doing this cake is I didn't have to use loads of different colours on my fondant, and it was nice to be able to keep it fairly cake shaped, so I didn't do a lot to the shape. And then we were just able to paint details on, which I did really enjoy. So I went on with the dry powders first, and then I mixed them with a little bit of that Rejuvenator Spirit, or clear alcohol, guys. Remember, you can use clear alcohol. And then painted on some little lines and finer detail. And then I want to put on some hair. So again, remember, you can use modelling chocolate if you want for this, guys. But I had the fondant to hand. So these are my spare bits, my offcuts of fondant, of that latte fondant. So I'll put links to everything below the video. I think most of these things you can purchase in my online store, because they do have a store online, guys. Okay, so we're putting the pieces of hair on. They don't quite match the picture. I'm not good at getting things exactly the same. Let's stick our ears on. So I'm just sticking them on with some water, but you can use edible glue if you prefer. Or even if you've got some leftover chocolate, you could melt that and stick that on there to help it stay in place. Now, they want to slide off at first, so the bigger you make the ears, the heavier they're going to be, the harder it is going to be to keep them on. So I'm just going to put some cocktail sticks in. I've even pierced them into the ears, and I've actually left them overnight before I took them off, and then put some more powder in the ears themselves. And it will last fine overnight because your cake inside is airtight. We've covered it in that fondant, so it shouldn't be any problems. And then we're going to paint on the hair. So I'm painting on the pieces of fondant that we've stuck on, and then we can also paint the extra pieces onto sort of his forehead, the surface of the cake, like so. There we go. There he is with little Rice Krispie treat mini versions, and I couldn't decide whether to make them bodies or not. So I had a little bit of a go at making these guys bodies, but they are solid chocolate, the bodies. Not chocolate. They are solid fondant, their bodies, so I don't think you're going to want to eat them. So you can see inside, there's the Rice Krispie treats. They did actually taste really nice, these. I've eaten quite a few of them already. So there he is, guys, all finished. Again, a massive thank you to Michael, or Mr. Eyes on Instagram. I will put links, guys, below the video for you guys to check out his work. I apologise for the mess of the kitchen in the background. There we go, all finished. It's the cake inside. Ta-da! Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to check out some of my other Halloween videos on my YouTube channel. Bye! If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and more.